Hey guys, I'm back again and I have for you today the New York Times by the book tag, which was put together by the lovely Mary Berg over at Mary Berg. I will link her channel below. It's fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go check out Mary Berg. So let's get started. I have two books on my nightstand. Actually, I have City on Fire, which I'm reading at the moment with Camille from WhatKamilReads, along with a couple of other people. He has a Goodreads group where we're reading bigger books. I will link that as well below. And where am I? I'm just finishing like book one. So about like right here. I haven't really gotten into it as well as I want to, but I am going to keep going on with this one. Next, I'm reading Margaret Atwood, The Stone Mattress, and I'm reading this for Project Annotation, which was started by Brooke Lee over at Brooke Lee. I will link Brooke Lee's channel below because it's fantastic and she had this idea to do Project Annotation. So this is the book that was sent to me for this month. Actually, this is my edition of the book. The other edition I have on the side, waiting to annotate as I read along. And that has to be Blacks by Gwendolyn Brooks. Now, this was absolutely fantastic. And it is a collection of some of her Gwendolyn Brooks' best poems. And another thing is, I didn't realize, but inside there is the book Maud Martha, which was written in 1953. It's like right in the middle of the book. And I didn't realize that. It's like 100 and, I don't know, maybe 180 pages or something like that. Maybe 190 pages. And it's in the middle of the book. And I had no idea. I thought it was just poems. So you have the Maud Martha and then you have the other poems. And I mean, come on, it's Gwendolyn Brooks. It's fantastic. If you haven't read any of Gwendolyn Brooks' poems, you might want to start here because this is a fairly complete collection and very well worth the read. I read this over the month of February. So literally I read it from the 1st of February to almost the end of February. And I found it to be edifying. And I'm not a big poetry lover, but I found these just fantastic. Just, I can't say anything more. Fantastic. Definitely must read. I have to say it would definitely have to be J. California Cooper. I discovered J. California Cooper after the lovely Kim Lechelle over at Kim Lechelle suggested that I pick it up because she said, girl, what? You haven't picked up J. California Cooper? Are you crazy? She's fantastic. She's my favorite author. So I finally picked up J. California Cooper out actually like maybe 5 months before she died or something like that. And she's fantastic. Oh my God. If I could meet her and talk to her, I would, first of all, I would ask her what her real name is. So how did she come up with this name, J. California Cooper? Because it's not her real name. But I'd like to know what her real name is and what was her motivation behind having this name as opposed to her real name. And I'd also like to know how she came up with her ideas for short stories. Now, this one is Some Love, Some Pain, Some Time. And this is one of the books I would like to read that I haven't gotten to yet. She was brilliant with writing short stories. And yeah, so I would want to have a little bit of tea with J. California Cooper and find out, some things about writing and why. Another thing I want to know is why she stayed in the, didn't try to get more publicity and stuff like that. Like why she kind of like kept everything on the low key and just, went on writing like she was doing, writing short stories and writing plays. So I would like to talk to her and find out how she got into writing and, what motivated her and, why writing the kinds of short stories that she was writing. So that's what I would ask. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know, yes, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat. So I don't do horror or, you know, stuff that's too gruesome and stuff, because, you know, I just can't. I won't sleep a wink, and I'll be sleeping with the light on and stuff. So I haven't really read any Stephen King before. Yes, bad person. I haven't read any Stephen King. But you'll be surprised to know that I have this chunker Under the Dome. This is a book that I actually picked up at a book sale in Paris, and it only cost me €2. So I said, why not? This one might not scare me to death. So I said I would read this one. So I don't know when I'm getting around to it, because it's not really the genre that motivates me the most. But if it's to read a Stephen King, I might give this one a try for real. If you have read this one, can you link below and tell me if it's really worth it, or if I should just skip this one and go to something a little better. As you can see, my personal library is behind me, and then I have it also on a few other shelves in this room and in another room. How is it organized? It's not organized. So that makes that really easy. It's not organized. No, it's a hot mess. So no, and I'm not really sure when I'm actually going to get around to actually going through it and really, you know, weeding out and organizing by alphabetical order, which is the most reasonable way to do it. But I can't right now. I can't. So maybe one day. Okay, firstly, I never feel embarrassed about having read anything, because there are a lot of books in the world, and we will never have enough time to read everything. We do the best that we can with what we can. So I try to read as much as I can of things that are interesting and different. And if I miss things, oh well. I mean, I miss things like everybody else miss things. Books that I would say that I've been meaning to get to and haven't gotten to yet I have 3 in particular. So the first book is Black Like Me by Richard Wright. And of course you all know about Richard Wright, and you know about this book. Well, I haven't read this one yet. I have read Native Son and I absolutely loved it, but this one I haven't read yet, and I've been meaning to read it. So hopefully I can get to it really soon. Next I have Perfect Peace, and that's by Daniel Black. And yeah, this one has really been on my list for a long time, and Alan from Alan Janae has been bugging the crap out of me to read this book. So yes, Alan, I'm gonna get to it. Okay, I'm gonna get to it. And then of course the last one is Virgin Soul by Judy Juanita. Now this book I've had on my shelf for way too long. I think I've had it on my shelf for 3 years, and I haven't picked it up. And it's really a book that I was very curious about reading. It has a little, you know, Black Panther theme going through it and everything. But for some reason, I just never have gotten towards picking this one up, and I feel really bad. And it's funny because I'm afraid that this is a book that is underhyped for some reason, a book that hasn't been talked about a lot. So I'm very curious to pick this one up. So I'm hoping that I can get to it this year as well. Disappointing? Yeah, not for me this at all. This was no ma'am, no ma'am. I can't get on board with this book. I just can't. It's just way too pretentious, and just, I don't know. I felt like, I mean, I should have DNF'd this one. I don't know why I didn't do it, but I should have DNF'd it. Okay, this one, overhyped. Well, you know what I thought about this one. This one is seriously overhyped, because it is, I mean, it's good, but it's not that good. Okay, just not good. The only one I can think of that is just not good is Stand Your Ground, which I'll put the picture here. Stand Your Ground by Victoria Christopher Murray. I'm sorry, but no, I can't. I couldn't. Now, maybe it's just that it was that particular book by Victoria Christopher Murray. I really don't know her as a writer. That was the only book that I had read, but I really was not impressed with that at all. That was just cliche at its worst. So yeah, no, not good. Book that I last put down without finishing. Actually, that's the problem. I haven't been not finishing any books. But if I do have to put a book up that I didn't finish, it has to be Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie. I found that a hard going read. I couldn't. I was really excited and thrilled about picking that one up, but when I started reading it, and one minute I was understanding everything, and the next minute it was like, what? I wasn't understanding anything. I could not get into that book. Now maybe I just need to try it a bit later now that it's 6 years later. Maybe if I try to pick it up, I might feel a bit better about it. But anyway, we'll see if I ever get back to Salman Rushdie. But he scares me. I'm usually drawn to stories that are about immigrants, about coming of age, family stories, stories that are like meaningful and make me reflect. More character driven novels than per se plot driven novels. Things I stay away from: anytime anybody mentions a fairy tale, cheesy romance, too much magical realism, I'm gone. You can just forget it. It's never going to happen for me. I just can't. Those don't work for me. Okay, if I could require that President Obama read one book, because I'm going to go with that, because I don't know what's going to happen in November, but, well, that's another story. But I would have him read this one if he hasn't read it, which is Forgotten: The Untold Story of D-Day's Black Heroes at Home and at War. Lord. This is written by Linda Hervieux, and what she did was she kind of follows black men going through the different world wars and going through how the military accepted black men in the ranks and how difficult it was for them, all the way back even from the Civil War, all the way until, like this World War II. And this story is about the 320th Balloon Battalion. And these were black men who flew these balloons, which you see here on the cover. And these balloons were used to deter the German planes from flying too close to combat zones. So they would get, they would fly them up high in the clouds, and then the plane would fly near, and it would get all tangled up and it would crash. So this was the only black battalion. And she writes a lot about these men and what they did and the difficulty they had. And there's even some of these soldiers are still trying to get the Medal of Honor, posthumous, and they can't get it. And so, I'm like, Obama, come on, you need to give some more of these out before you're no longer president anymore, because there's a couple of guys who still need to get it, who haven't gotten it. Their families are desperately waiting for some recognition of the government on the fantastic heroic actions of their husbands or their grandfather, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I would suggest that Obama pick up. Okay, what I plan to read next is a book called The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. And this is a thriller mystery. This is a review copy that was sent to me from Simon & Schuster by the lovely Ebony. Thank you, Ebony. And so this book is coming out this month. And I think it's already out, actually. It says, with her husband's corpse still warm on the bottom of the stairs, Tanya Dubois has one option: to go on the run again. When the police figure out that she doesn't officially exist, they'll start asking questions she can't answer. Desperate to keep the past buried, our heroine hopscotches across the country, adopting and shedding identities as she fights to escape anyone who wants to silence her for good. Okay, so you get an idea. Now, I'm a little worried because it says, in the tradition of Gone Girl and The Girl on the Train, the passenger's scorching pace, unforgettable heroine, and ingenious plot will keep you turning pages deep into the night toward a stunning conclusion that will quite simply blow you away. Okay, so I get worried when people start comparing the books to the Gone Girl. Okay, first of all, I haven't read Gone Girl and probably never will. And I did read The Girl on the Train and I was like, meh, and I felt it a little predictable. So I don't know. We'll see what this one is like. I'll let you know when I'm done with it. I will definitely review it and tell you if I liked it, if I thought it was good. And that's what I should be reading next, hopefully next week. So that's all I have for you today with this video. And I think I'm going to tag a few people that maybe don't know about this tag, which should be interesting to see what they have to say. I'm going to try to put all of their names here on the screen so I don't have to tell you, but you look for your name and you do accordingly. Try to do it if you can, if you find it interesting. So that's all I have for you today, and I'll be back real soon with the review. Bye.